Maybe he has more fans now than he had when he was here because people have forgotten who he was. We're talking about Phil Forte.
Wait. They forgot? I don't think they didn't forget. They didn't forget who Phil Forte was.
No. They remember the name. They might not remember who he was.
They don't remember who.
No. And when his name came out, and we're gonna have him tell us about the Stillwater Stars. I mean,
Yes,
how that's all gonna shake out. But he's really doing work now. I mean, he's a staffer on the Sam Houston basketball staff, and they're going through the same frustrations that we are, I'm sure, up here. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But Mr. Forte, tell me about the Stillwater Stars and how that all came about.
It's kind of just last-minute deal. I kind of got hit up by a couple guys that were managers when I was playing, and I didn't really pay much attention to it the first couple times. You know, I don't know what I'll be doing at that time. I'll probably be busy doing, working for Sam Houston State. And then they just kind of stayed persistent. They got more people. So LB joined. I saw Markel. I was talking to Markel, Jeff Carroll on the side and everything, and they said they were going to do it. And then, I was just like, what else do I got to lose? I get to see some of my former teammates and have a chance to go play. And I think it'd just be a fun opportunity, something to look forward to. And so eventually I kind of got persuaded into doing it. And I'm looking forward to playing with some of my former teammates once again.
Now, what's the coronavirus pandemic done to these plans? I don't even know when you were going to get together and play. Was there an exhibition maybe in the near future that was supposed to be played? And where will you play these games? How has that been altered?
So I don't know all the details yet. And like you said, with this whole corona deal going on, I think everything is pretty day-to-day, just like anything else sports-related right now. Originally, I know our region was supposed to be in Wichita. That was where we were supposed to start. But, I think we're all kind of hanging out, waiting to see, what happens in the next, month or so. And no one really knows because everyone's kind of in unknown territory with this whole deal that's going on right now. So, and then how does right now as well, all the live periods have been canceled in April and everything. So I don't know, do they move that back later in July or whatever? So maybe then I wouldn't be able to play in that. So there's just a lot day to day to figure out, but hopefully it all works out. I'd love to get a chance to play with some of my guys again.
Have you been out running? I mean, this is not just come on the floor and,
right.
and be in great shape, right?
No, yeah, there's some good players in this. I watch it every year in the summer, and they do a good job of putting it on at a time where there's really not much sports happening. And so I always watch it every summer. I mean, I've seen former guys that I've played against. I remember seeing Kevin Pangos, DeAndre Kane, Melvin Edgem, a bunch of those guys that were all conference players, and some of the best players in the country that are playing overseas that are in this thing. So I know when it leads up to it, I'm going to have to go through a 2-week boot camp or something to get in shape so I don't embarrass myself out there.
Now, let's be honest. You weren't always the quickest guy we had, but you were smart enough to go to the right spot, so they found you with a pass, and then you did the rest, right? So I think it could still be this theory on this level.
It's like anything. I played when I was at Oklahoma State. I played with really good players that made me look better than what I was, and so I'm planning on riding that coattail again. I'll play to my strengths, and I just got to get out there to where I can make multiple trips up and down the court before I ask for a sub now.
Before you raise your hand and say,
yeah,
you pat your head, say, come in and get me here. Yeah. You never did that much, though. I give you a lot of grief, but no, you didn't do it. You were in great shape here, and probably were exhausted after every game you played because you never came off the floor hardly.
It is just one of those things at my size. I didn't really have a choice. I had to always pride myself in being in the best shape every single time I stepped on the floor, and part of my competitive nature, I know, is that tournament gets closer. I'm going to want to make sure that I'm in as good a shape as possible. Now, I haven't played competitive basketball in, 3 years, so I obviously won't be the same. But I'm going to make sure that I can at least hold my own out there for however long that I'm on the court playing.
Hey, Phil, Patrick Wheeler here. Tell me, and kind of let the listeners know a little bit too, kind of what is all, what the basketball tournament's all about, because I know when I've said it a little bit, I'll say, hey, the Stillwater Stars have a really good chance of winning this basketball tournament, and people go, what basketball tournament? I'm like, no, it's called the basketball tournament. So kind of explain to the listeners, what it is and what all the cash prize and all of that.
Yeah, so it's basically a winner take all. If you win the whole thing, your team gets $2 million, and you divide it up amongst the team. Basically, a lot of teams kind of form alumni teams, and all the teams all over across the country, anywhere from Iowa State, Tennessee, Syracuse, everyone. Ohio State, I think they might have won it last year. I can't remember. But basically, the rule is you can't play in the NBA. And so as long as you're not in the NBA, then you can play in this tournament. And so basically you get some of the best players in the world. There's really good players playing overseas that play in this every year as well. And so the talent level of this tournament is really, really, really good. And so it'll be a competitive deal. I do like our team that we have so far, but you look at there's some of the best college players that I've ever played in the last 10 years or so that would be playing in this tournament as well. So definitely a lot of competition. I like our team that we got, but we'll definitely have our hands full for sure.
Hey, Phil, Jason Elpquist here. And looking at the team so far, it's a case where you got some specialists. You got Brian Williams, the kind of the defensive guy when he was here, post players, scorers. But I got to ask, who's going to play the point?
Markel would probably be our option, and Markel's still playing, so he definitely, he could do anything. I don't think we're done with our team, so I think we're still trying to figure out a few more pieces and stuff. But Markel can handle the point, no problem. He did it sometimes, even at Oklahoma State when Marcus got in foul trouble or anything like that. So. I'm definitely not running the point. That's too much running for me up and down the court. I'm going straight to the corner, and that's it.
Hey, do you still have the stroke, though? I don't think you're ever going to pull back on, the amount of threes that you take in a game, are you?
Oh, no. Okay, it's like I always tell people this. It's kind of like riding a bike. Once you learn, it's something that you don't necessarily forget. So I'm there. I'm on the team for a reason, so I definitely plan on getting them up when I'm in the game.
Hey, Phil, I saw today too that Mike Cobbins announced he's going to join the team. How about that?
Yeah, that's a good pickup for us for sure. Especially this gives us some size, defense, and a presence inside as well. And like I was saying, these teams are really good, and you're going to have an inside presence. And I think for me is I don't know what's going to happen. Like to me, the money, I'm not sitting here saying it wouldn't be great to win $2 million, but I'm just excited to see a bunch of these guys again. I haven't seen them in person in years, and everyone's kind of on their own path right now. Everyone's in basketball of some sort, whether it's overseas, whether it's G League, whatever. Everyone's kind of in the same season, so it doesn't allow you to really see anyone very often. So that'll be the cool part, is just kind of hanging out and getting a chance to see some of these guys again.
You're seeing the coaching side as well as every other coach around the country now at Sam Houston. And it's got to be just as frustrating down there as well. In that, I'm making the assumption your school is shut down like most people in terms of people in the classroom, or is that not correct at Sam Houston?
Yeah, we're shut down too. All of our classes are moved online. So all guys are taking all online class for the rest of the year. And it's a very frustrating time. And confusing time. If you're a senior, your season just ended. We were 2 hours away from tip in our conference tournament when we found out that our season was done. And so in that aspect of it, it's really difficult. I couldn't imagine my last year playing, just having it end like that. And then there's a ripple effect in recruiting, and how long is this thing going to go for the evaluation period, for summer workouts, when we can work our guys out again. And so there's still a lot of unknown factors that are kind of week to week that we're still waiting to hear on.
Sometimes we think all the frustration is just here in Stillwater or is in Norman or is in Lawrence, but it is everywhere because you don't have an answer. And I think until somebody can get an answer, you just kind of floating around waiting for something to happen. But for you, I mean, you're relatively new in this business as far as the coach is concerned. You're not as hardened as things that go on in the coaching business. How has it affected you?
For me, it just let me go home and see my family. So I've just kind of been hanging out in the Dallas area. The main thing that we're focused on right now is recruiting, just like most schools in the country. And so now you can't have visits. You can't schedule visits, unofficials, officials. You can't make any physical contact with the recruit. And so you're basically on the phone, watching film on kids. And so it just brings a different aspect of it because you can't see them face to face. So just watching film, getting on the phone, calling about kids. And so that's a good thing with all of this going on. I could do all that remote. All I need is my laptop and my cell phone, and I could pretty much do anything that I need to get done as far as what I need to do for work so far.
Hey, you talked to Marcus? How's he doing? He's the one who said he had it, right?
Yeah. He's good. No, he's good. I mean, just like a lot of those guys in the NBA, they're fine. He had no symptoms or anything like that. It's just kind of a freak deal, and he got stuck playing two teams that had multiple guys that were tested positive for the virus. So, but he's fine. He's good. He's in good spirits and everything. And but he's in such good shape. Those guys that are in the NBA, their bodies are in such good shape. So that's probably why it doesn't affect them as much.
Well, speaking of shape, we'll let you get back to running. I know we took you off the 5-mile track, and then you only got a couple in, so you need to get those last 3 in before the day comes to an end, right?
Yeah, that's right. I was at 3.5, stopped, caught my breath a little bit, and I finished the other 3.5 here when I got off the phone with you.
You know what? Let me tell you something. You can still spin a yarn like you did when you were here, but I'll believe it if you want me to.
There we go. All
right, buddy. I appreciate you spending time. We'll touch base as we get closer to the basketball tournament starting and see what kind of look this team has. But I appreciate the time as always, and good catching up with you.
Thanks, Phil.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, buddy. Phil Forte, one of the good guys that played here, and one of the most talented guys who played here, quite frankly. And he makes fun of what he did or didn't, but this was a guy that when you needed a bucket or you needed a play made or you needed some energy, and there were times we needed it when he was here. He was the guy who stepped up and got it done, even though he wasn't the most physically imposing-looking guy on the floor, and maybe not the quickest, not the tallest. But he's a guy who got the job done, and if you had about 5 Phil Fortes on your team, you win a lot of games.
Right? Yeah, you'd be happy with that. And Jason, I know you've seen the official lineup right now, the roster that they've put together with the Stillwater Stars too. I mean, be honest with me, can they win that whole thing?
Yeah. I mean, again, I think the question I asked Phil is probably my biggest question for them right now. Is and again, Markelle was great at the point, but I think he's also. They can best use him when he's not handling the ball, because and Tom can remember this as well. The whole lob stilly, getting him in free space, allowing him to be an athlete more than just a ball handler. I think is where he's at his best. And it's funny because I'm looking at the roster, and I know their team name is called the Stillwater Stars, but I almost feel like it should be called the Travis Ford All-Stars. I mean, it's pretty much everyone from his tenure here.
Yeah, and, Cabo coming back helps. Cobbins is going to really help. He's a guy in a pogo stick, and he goes on and on and on. He plays much taller than he is. But another guy who gets overlooked on this team, and I assume he's still on it, is Marshall Moses. And Marshall played overseas for a number of years. And for a while, he was our, quote, big guy. I don't really know if he was 6'8". He might have been more like 6'7". Yeah. But this guy was relentless on the boards, relentless around both ends of the floor, and played bigger than his stats indicated. But with him and Cabo maybe on the in the middle, taking care of the paint area, I kind of like their chances.
Well, Marshall's one of those gritty type of players when that's Jordan Bishop's favorite player.
Is he really?
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's excited about. I joked with Bishop that he was going to have to go find a Marshall Moses jersey to wear during the tournament. But the one that honestly that sticks out to me is Brian Williams, and I kind of mentioned it with Phil. Is Brian wasn't necessarily a scorer, but he was the defensive lockdown. I mean, he was the guy where, hey, we need you to lock down the best player on the opposing team, it was Brian Williams. Even when he suffered that hand injury, it was still, hey, we still want you out there. We still need you out there because you're our best defensive player. I think that's huge to have because, again, you look at all the names and you got a bunch of guys who can shoot and score from the perimeter and stuff like that. But Brian Williams is going to be your lockdown defender. I think that's huge to have someone like that on that roster.
And you know what, Jason, you and I might be the two of the if you hit 10 people up on the street, which you can't anymore because they're not out there. But they might not remember Brian Williams, right?
Yeah.
But he was indeed one of the tougher defenders we ever had here. And it doesn't hurt to have a Jeff Carroll on the team because Jeff can drain him as well. So we'll find out. We'll see how this team does. They certainly have a lot of guys who could score it. That's for sure.
Yeah, and again, I think it helps the fact that, like I said, a lot of these guys played with each other one way or another. Obviously, the two of the other guys who have added on are Thomas Dzagwa and Lindy Waters. And while they didn't play, but with Jeffrey Carroll, you still have, maybe some pockets of some comfortable play. So it's not like you're trying to throw, if you end up with 10 guys where you have everyone's from different portions, they never really played with each other. I think having that familiarity might help them.
Is Diz and Waters, they are officially on that roster now? Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yes, the tweet they sent out yesterday included them. The full roster right now that they're showing is Markel Brown, Marshall Moses, Jeffrey Carroll, LeBrian Nash, Thomas Dzagwa, Lindy Waters, Phil Forte, Brian Williams, and now Michael Cobbins.
Well, that's we know them as pretty good players. Who's coaching this team? Do they have a coach yet?
I don't know
it might be Travis Ford.
It might be, because that's funny. They have coaches for this thing.
I would think, right?
Yeah, that's what I told. I can't remember who it was, but I was talking to him. This is a very serious, real. It's fun tournament, but they're playing for $2 million. You got to take it really serious. You would too, right?
Yeah. Like I told him last night, I said, this might be the last time we get a chance to talk to you. You might be a millionaire, and next time I ask you to come on the show, you won't come on.
Next time you try to talk to him, you're going to go through his publicist first.
Yeah. I said, well, I got several layers you got to go through first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, we looking forward to that. Supposed to right now, as of now, happen in July. We really hope that does continue to be the case, and that it could be one of the first sporting events to even come back.